we have an interview coming up for you right now, and I want you to think about something. We're always looking for the next greatest thing. And it's easy to do. It's an addiction. I get caught up in it. What's the next great idea? What's the next big idea? What's something new? And sometimes the next new thing, the next great thing is the same thing you've been doing for a very long time. It's just not sexy, right? Um, and there's this concept in our life and in business that people are always talking about and that I don't really understand because they talk about balance. You have a well-balanced life. You have balance in all areas. And I don't even know what that means because there's no such thing. Everything is always, it's about how do you keep things moving in the right direction. I don't believe in balance. I believe in completeness, wholeness, right? How do you constantly striving to make every part of you active and engaged and whole? It's not about, well, I'm working too hard here, so my spiritual life is slowing down or my relationships are suffering and I need to spend more time in that. It's like, no, it's about how do you make sure that everything is integrated? Because it won't be balanced. Sometimes you might only, it can't be about quantity, it has to be about quality. Because maybe you only spend a small percentage of your time focusing on your relationship, but it's a fabulous quality time, right? There's no right or wrong. There's only what's right for you. And my guest today, Victoria Buckmann, she's a perfect example of that, right? She's not coming in with any groundbreaking, brand new strategies. She's the perfect example of what it is like to be complete, to have all the areas in your life working well so that they're all interdependent, so that your sales, your business, and your success are all tied together with your family, fun, spirituality, faith, whatever, right? So pay attention to that as you're listening to her talk, because you're going to hear expertise, but pay attention to how she's being an expert at her life and how it's leading to success in her business. And so that's not just about business mastery, right? Pay attention, enjoy the interview. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Jim Padilla here, as always, with Sales Unscripted, where it's not about what you're saying, but who you're being while you're saying it that matters the most. And we're here always helping people grow exponentially in the sales game. We believe in running your sales as its own business, being in the business of sales, and that's really what moves the needle, and that's what makes things happen so effectively. You don't just randomly wait for it to happen, but you actually strategically create success, and sales becomes just the linchpin for everything great to grow from there. So in all of our opportunities to be able to work with some of the best, the brightest names in the business of coaching and service and consulting, when people are hiring our teams to provide sales for high ticket enrollment, for increasing sales for their launches and for your live events, you get to hire our amazing team. And our amazing team is always filled with fantastic sales rock stars. We call them our heart-centered sales army because they are just tireless and relentless and do everything necessary to bring home the victory. And they're fighting for you, but they're leading with the heart and care immensely. And somebody that our next guest today that I'm bringing to you was actually a part of our sales army for a period of time a while back. Somebody who fit perfectly into our culture. And because of that, she leads with her heart, but she is a soldier and she gets it through and she fights for her clients' successes. And she's here to help make sure that you can maximize your sales experience. And so I want to bring her on right now, Victoria Buckmann. Why don't you come on and say hello, and then we'll just kind of dive into what it is that's going on with you in your world.
Hello, and thank you, Jim. Good to be here.
Absolutely. Victoria's been in sales for a very long time. She's somebody that just, it's not about it. Sales isn't what she does. It's who she is, in my opinion. So it's more about, who you are at your core and how does it just come out of you instead of a role that you play when you're engaged in business. She's been, her accolades include many, along with being a Fortune 100 company, receiving over 1,000% of her sales quota month over month for 13 years. How many of you can say that? How many of you actually even have a quota? Let's make sure that you've got some goals and things to hit as well. She is a certified dream coach, a higher guidance business coach. She formerly a success coach, a premier success coach for eWomen Network. For those of you who don't know, that's a phenomenal organization with Sandra Yancey, a friend of mine. And along with many other things, she's very well known in the coaching industry. There's a lot of people who rely on her expertise, like I said, including us at one point in time. And now she has moved on to amazing things in her world. Victoria, talk about what's going on with you and what's happening in your world right now.
Oh, lots of fun things, Jim. It was funny that you said I've been in sales for a long time. I think I started sales when I was 7 years old. I was selling making Barbie doll clothes and selling them. But yeah, what's going on in my world right now is really helping women to reframe what they believe about sales. I get what you call downloads, and I got a download around sales. SALES. S stands for service. A is about asking the right questions, making a friend first. L is about listening. There's 4 ways to listen. E is about excavating and evaluating and excavating, really digging deep and finding how you're going to help these people that are right there in front of you. And then the last S in sales is about sharing. Share something, be a resource. So that's one of the things that I'm on a mission to help women really reframe their whole idea around sales.
Fantastic. And working, having a heart for serving women doesn't mean that you don't have incredibly valuable information that men can listen to as well.
Yes.
And it applies everywhere. She just has a heart for serving and inspiring women to step into that leadership, because, as you know, it's a big movement in our world right now to help women step up and take their place, their rightful place as leaders in the industry.
Yeah.
So what do you think, in the time that we got to spend together and work together, you're somebody that I see as someone who just, you take on all challenges. You never said no to stuff that when we've talked, you always look at the opportunities, and everything has pros and cons, right? But what are the benefits? How has that served you in that mindset in your career?
Well, when you're of service, the very first S in sales, right? If you're there for someone else and you say yes, you never know whose life you're going to transform. You never know what opportunity or possibility is going to come out of that. And, when I say yes to things that I'm not quite sure I know how to do, I get to learn something new. So, yeah, just, having that high energy and that yes attitude, possibilities, opportunities, things come your way because you're open. You have that open mindset, that growth mindset, and that's when things, come your way. They pass by you. So I encourage people, be open.
Yeah, so many times I hear, just be that person who says yes and then figures out how to do it later. And I've been that way most of my life. It has certainly brought me into some situations that I probably should have never been in the first place. But in so doing, it's allowed me to have to grow, because I have
Yeah.
to be able to master that opportunity. Or if sometimes, I've said yes to something that was way over my head, but then I was able to bring in other experts who could handle it. And then I got to learn from a different perspective, right? But I don't, there's a very, very much a big value in being able to say no and knowing what you shouldn't be engaged in when you're in a season of laser focus towards an achievement or a certain goal. But other than that, I really think it benefits us to say yes to just about everything that we can.
Yeah, and like you said, you become the resource. So if it's something that you can't handle, then you get to pass it on to someone else and share the wealth, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. For sure. So what's your secret sauce? What's been the secret to the successes that you've had over the last, several decades? I mean, just you've been successful entrepreneur for a long time.
Well, I have to say the secret sauce is part of what we just talked about, having the open mindset. But I think the real magic is sales is about energy. Actually, life is about energy. And
Amen.
you said it when we started here. It's not about what you're doing, it's about who you're being. And when you lead with your energy, and your energy is high, and your energy is coming from service, and you're excited and you're happy and you're passionate about things, you're like this little magnet that people want to be around. They want to be around you. They want to work with you. They want to know what you're up to. They want to help you. So, leading with your energy first, sometimes we forget about that.
Definitely. And that's funny, because That's what's gotten me into a lot of these places where I was over my head because my energy was so high. My knowledge set wasn't very high, but my energy was. And people are like, wow, this guy's awesome. Let's do this. You want to do this for me or do this with me? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay, what the hell did I just sign up for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so you have a program coming up, or an event coming up, I should say, called Programmed for Wealth, right? Is that,
No.
hold on, did I get that right? Hold on, let's edit that out, edit that question. I'm gonna ask this again. Okay. You have an event coming up called Extraordinary Life event, right? Coming up in
Yes.
February.
Yes.
And what is that about? And how does it directly tie into someone who's a salesperson or trying to master sales?
So the Extraordinary Life event is all about life. I have been told by my guides that you need to teach how you live. I have an extraordinary life. I have an amazing marriage. I have a successful business. I have a beautiful home. I have, an amazing family. And I want people to have an extraordinary life in all areas. You talk about that, Jim. You have an extraordinary life. A good life, it's okay, but an extraordinary life. And it all starts on the inside. So, I get these downloads that I talked about, and life is another one of them, LIFE, look inside for everything.
Nice.
And it's all about who are you being? What's the self-image that you're holding? If you believe that you're good at sales, well, guess what? The universe is going to send things to you, and it's going to match up what comes to you with who you believe you are. Because the universe won't let you believe something about yourself and then send you something different. It's like, a picture on the wall that's crooked. It's got to line everything up. So this event is about how do you use your self-image to find the limiting beliefs that are holding you back from having an extraordinary life in, all categories, all across the board.
That's great. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to expand on this a little bit, because what you just said is great. And I hear it almost every day.
Okay.
We got to expand your limits. We got to reduce those limiting beliefs. Yeah. I hear, you can't turn on a podcast or a YouTube video without hearing that in some version. What's special about how you approach this?
Well, one of the things is we hear a lot about the limiting beliefs. You've got to find your limiting beliefs. Well, how do you do that? So we give a really specific technique of if you think you're a C student and you've said that all your life, then you are always going to get C's, right? If you get an A on a test or something, and then all of a sudden you're either going to believe, oh, this is a mistake, or the next test that you get, you're going to get an F, and it's going to even out to a C. So when you look at what it is that you believe about yourself, when you talk about sales is about, are you a people person or are you shy? Are you an extrovert or are you an introvert? You don't have to switch who you are, but you want to believe that I'm a person that helps people. When it comes to sales, it's about people, it's about money, it's about asking for what you want, it's about being visible, and it's about having value, giving value to other people. So when you look at those 5 different areas, what do I believe about myself in those areas? And how can I shift that? And my other secret sauce is, and you've heard me say a couple times now that I talk to my guides, I get these downloads. There is, whether you're calling it guides or downloads, or whether you're calling it infinite intelligence and plasma, or quantum physics.
Sometimes just good old intuition and instinct. We all have it. You just call it something different.
Yes, but there's this intelligence in the universe that's working for us. So I always teach people how to call in that intelligence, have it work for you as you're doing stuff yourself and moving forward. And, a lot of it is it's all about getting outside of your comfort zone. So you've got to see, where is that boundary of your comfort zone and what's on the other side of it. You're not going to create anything new if you keep doing what you've always been doing. And we've heard that many a times too.
Right. And, I'm hearing some of you check out a little bit right now, because sometimes, our audience tends to be, we definitely bring in spiritual, um, uh, attract spiritual entrepreneurs. And we also have some very practical people who sometimes resist the woo, as we might say. Um, and I don't care what you call it. He said, you call it whatever you want, but I have never met a successful person in life who isn't engaged in their intuition, in their instinct, in their spirit, in their divine, connected to God. You fill in the blank. So don't get hung up on semantics. Just get really down with the seriousness of this, because I have literally never seen somebody who has managed sustained success without that. It's part of bringing the whole to the complete. You can't do this as part of yourself. In order for you to reach success, you have to have the whole self. That includes the spirit, that includes the emotional, that includes everything you were designed to be here. So tap
Yeah.
in.
And Jim, but you're also right. There also needs to be the practical, right? What I teach is, I call it the practical and the profound. The practical is, hey, if you're going to meet with someone and you're, talking about your products and services, and you're sitting across the table from them, get up and walk around and sit next to them. It's a practical thing to do. It's a really simple little technique. But you know what you just did? When you're sitting across the table from someone, there's automatically, the subconscious goes, opposition. They're across from me.
Yes.
You get up and you walk around and you sit right next to them, right beside them. Now all of a sudden they go, oh my gosh, we're on the same team. We're on the same side. Now they're going to interact with you in a whole different way. So the spiritual, using all of who you are, is really important, and so is the practical. There's people out there that need those practical tips, and there's plenty of them.
Awesome. So we're diving into a little bit of the experience of a quality sales environment. And notice the way that Victoria talks about sales, it's not a transaction. It's an experience. And it's really, when it's done right, it's just a very natural thing to do. You're performing sales transactions all day long. You just don't do all of them for money. And it's just part of who you are. And you can definitely access her on Twitter at actually, I love the handle that she had on Twitter, Victoria B Wealth. I like that. You can get on her at Facebook at victoria.buckmann. Make sure you check her out there. Please go connect. If you're hearing anything that's resonating with you, leave comments there. Let her know. Reach out and ask. And another way to be able to get access to her is going to be coming up at the Extraordinary Life event. And if I'm thinking about wanting to come to this event, what's the main thing I want to be looking for? Who's the person that's going to benefit the most from coming to this event?
The person who has a place, an area of their life that they've wanted different. They want it to change. They want something bigger. They want something different, and they haven't been able to do that. And there's somebody that likes to have a community, some support in getting there, with other people holding your hand or by your side, to change what you're doing to actually accomplish something that you've had on your New Year's resolutions or your to-do list or your goal list for years, where you just can't get the traction, and you can't have that one area. Maybe it's relationships or, your wealth or your business. It doesn't matter what it is. The process that we're using works all across the board.
Awesome. And why would I not come? What if I'm thinking, I don't know if this is for me? Who's the person who should be saying, okay, this isn't for me right now?
The person that doesn't want to do anything in their life and they want to stay right where they are. If you want nothing to change, don't come.
And that's a great point. And I really want to unpack that, because I think sometimes this is a disingenuous approach that a lot of people in business use. Well, this is for you if, and this is not for you if. And of course, this is not for you is usually a list of insults. This is not for you if you want to be lazy and slow and broke. And this is not for you if you don't care about the people in the world around you. It's like, well, give me a break. We all do. But what Victoria said is very real. You might be at a place where you don't want to change. You think things are good. You've worked really hard to get where you are. And maybe you just want to cruise for a year and then figure out about climbing next year. Oh, that's great. You need to it's more about understanding who you are and where you want to go. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's no judgment. So don't read in that into the wrong way, because there is benefit to being able to be happy. We understand it. Our company here, Gain the Edge, we have climbed so much in the last 4.5 years. There's times where we just want to take a breath and go, okay, no growth right now, please. So we get it. So, and in your summation, what's the tagline here? What's the one thing I'm going to walk away from? You're going to provide a lot of great insights and strategies and skill sets, but when I walk away from this 3-day event, what's the likely takeaway?
You're going to put life into your life, which sounds kind of funny. You are going to see how you can become who you want to be, and then that is how you get what you want to get. It's all about becoming and being, not
Amen.
about the doing. And that's the exact same thing that you were talking about.
Definitely all about the beingness.
Yeah.
So let's go behind the scenes on this for a little bit. As a sales professional, as a business person, you certainly understand the importance of a one-to-one sales connection. And I don't believe anything is more impactful than a face-to-face one-on-one connection. Why? What's the benefit to a live event as a business owner, as someone who's trying to scale your business? What's the strategy I need to be looking for here? Why should I be considering live events?
Well, first of all, you're giving valuable information to a group of people, and they're going to walk away either, enthusiastic, or they're going to have one little tidbit that really worked for them, and then they're going to share that with others. So your community starts to grow. And when you come together at an event, like what I was saying about who you want to be, when we're all working together on something, there's a new entity that's formed that's bigger than the people in the room, and it takes on this energy, and it spreads, it expands. So people walk away with what they think they got consciously in the moment, but they actually come away with something even bigger that lasts for a long time. So it's a great way to expand your community. And when you expand your community and more people know about what you're doing and the value you provide, more people are attracted to you and more people want to talk to you, and your business grows.
Definitely. And, with us, the name of the game here is sales, scaling, and leverage. Those are the 3 lanes that Cyndi and I are always focused on here at Gain the Edge. And live events are one of the best ways to accomplish all 3 of those lanes at once. You have sales, because you're actually moving people to make decisions to change their life, which is what sales is about. You have scaling, because you are providing an opportunity to make a big revenue payday in one short period of time. And you have leverage, because you're reaching multiple lives at once and being able to deliver impact in a way that you can't do one-to-one. So it's something that if you're not doing, you really need to be considering, and reach out to us. And if you want to see one done well, attend the Extraordinary Life event, but attend it from the perspective of a student, not just to learn the content, but to watch how an event unfolds. I recommend you do that at any event that you come to. Heck, I recommend you do that here on this podcast. If you're thinking about podcasts, don't just listen to the content, because I know I know you can always learn some stuff here, but pay attention to the questions that are asked, how we're asking them, the format here, and feel free to shoot them my way if you think I'm doing stuff that I could be doing better. I always want to know. So great stuff. So out of everything that you've dealt with, what's the way I want to ask this? What's the most important thing that you've learned, or that you would say that as you enter all your other business ventures, what has to be present for you? What have you discovered for you that is a must exist in order for you to have a winning experience?
Fun. I have to have fun, and I have to have the energy of love, which might sound kind of woo-woo also, but if you're not spreading love to other people and they aren't loving you back or loving what they're getting, then it isn't fun. Right. So yeah, fun and love.
Yeah.
Love is powerful.
And, if you can't see that, Victoria's got this high level of energy. It's not just, she didn't just reserve it. She wasn't resting in a tank for 3 days to come on here and spring a bunch of energy on us. This is who she is all the time. So, that's just part of it. Same thing with Cyndi, my wife partner. She thinks she's the funniest person on the planet. She cracks jokes where most of the time she's the only one laughing, but she doesn't care because she's having fun. And she's always telling me how funny she is, which I have to always tell her, well, if you have to tell me that you're funny, then maybe it's not. But But it's awesome. I enjoy it because it's infectious. You know, I can hear her laugh across any room all the time because she's always seeking to have fun, and it infects. It's vital. It's a big part of our success because
Yeah.
it's something that it's a force that can't be overcome. You
She's
know?
childlike. And when you're childlike, you're like this, people love children and they're magnetic. And that's how Cyndi is.
Very much so.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So you guys can get all of this information, everything we've been talking about at salesunscripted.com in the show notes. Make sure you check it out. If you're feeling any connection to this at all, reach out to Victoria and just have a conversation. See if it's a good fit. Check it out and see what can happen. So you're going to go to the extraordinarylifeevent.com. Again, the link is in the show notes. Check them out there and reach out. Let us know. If you go to the event, let us know how it goes. What experience you've gained from it. What did you learn? Was she on point with what she was talking about? I know she's always open to that feedback as well.
Yes.
So reach out and make it happen. While people are doing that, Victoria, I'd love to know from you what you are working on in your personal life that is having benefits in your business that you didn't expect.
In my personal life, I am working on a meditation practice to I'm a go-getter. I'm always going like you guys, right? And I'm doing a lot of things. So taking the time to stop and meditate and get quiet and breathe has benefited my digestion. It's benefited my business. I've had more people come to me saying, this is pretty amazing. You have this energy, but yet you have this calmness about you. So it makes them feel comfortable and calm. And so that's probably the biggest thing that I'm working on right now.
Awesome.
And it's doing great things for my marriage, which was already fabulous. So
Outstanding.
yeah.
Outstanding. And what book are you reading right now?
The book I'm reading right now is called Story Speak.
Story Speak. What's the takeaway from that? What do you get? What's the journey it's leading you on?
It's about how to speak in stories and how to use detailed descriptions to paint pictures in people's minds so that they become, very attentive and aware of. It creates a connection.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. We can do this all day. But we're also always conscious of your time. We know you guys are busy and moving and shaking and going. We want you to be able to consume this stuff. So extraordinarylifeevent.com coming up in February. Check her out. Go get connected. At the very least, find her on Facebook, find her on Twitter, and just see what she's about, and then have some conversations. Victoria,
Great.
definitely appreciate your time and your energy and your wisdom, and look forward to more.
Thank you, Jim. It was great being here.